What's going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make sure all the Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video we're talking about how the Charlotte Hornets lost to the Los Angeles Lakers at home 112 to 107. I mean, Anthony Davis had an incredible game. Considering LaMelo Ball got hurt, considering the players were missing, considering Anthony Davis after the first quarter was on track to get 80, I think it's a pretty good game. I don't think there's really much you could say about it. The Charlotte Hornets fall to 12-31 as the Los Angeles Lakers are now 26-18. But let's talk about the Hornets for a little bit. The biggest thing is the LaMelo Ball injury. I know Charles Lee after the game said they're still doing tests. We'll probably hear something about that today. I'm recording this at like early in the morning, so who knows when we'll actually hear that information. But as of right now, there's nothing. I don't think it looked that serious. He was able to walk off the court at his own will. I mean, he just had a little limp, obviously. But I think he went from the court straight to the locker room. I think that's just more of a cautionary. I think if it was that bad, we would have saw a little more grimacing. We would have saw a little more urgency. I felt as though it was just a player rolled his ankle. It is LaMelo, and he does have ankle issues, as we all know, but I don't think it's that serious. Once again, I don't know for sure. We'll know more as time passes. We'll definitely obviously know more by next game. I think by next game, which I don't even know when that is, by next game he more likely won't play, but I don't think that's an indicator of where he's at going forward. I think that one thing they really want is honestly for him to make the All-Star game. So if he isn't really hurt, I don't think they'll sit him. Now, once that All-Star game is done, prepare for the tank of your life. But as of right now, everything looks good, but that's no news. That's literally just me seeing. But now we can talk about the game. Despite losing LaMelo Ball, I think we still had a pretty good game. I think that the defensive game plan changed, and we were able to slow down Anthony Davis a little bit. I mean, yes, he had 42, but 21 of that came in the first quarter. So to be able to have him only score 21 for the rest of the game, I think it's okay. But I think this is also very indicative of where we need Mark Williams to be. We've had this issue with Mark Williams, Nick Richards, Mason Plumlee, of course. Any other center that's in that, well, actually, with Mason Plumlee and Nick Richards, it felt is any center could have a night like this. With Mark Williams, you could tell he's a top, we could say 15 center for now, because anyone in that upper echelon has these games against him. So I think that's very indicative of where we need him to be. It's not, you're not going to stop Anthony Davis. It's Anthony Davis. LeBron wanted him as a teammate for a reason. LeBron wanted him as a running mate for a reason. Anthony Davis was dominating with the Pelicans. Well, he was personally dominating, not the Pelicans. Either way, it's Anthony Davis. You're not going to really stop him, but to allow him to get 21 in the first quarter while not all of it was on Mark Williams, you still think it should, he should have did a little better. He did mention after the game that they just don't believe they were physical enough, and he said it starts with him. He's the one that sets the physicality tone, and once they really stepped it up, the defense stepped up, and their defense on Anthony Davis particularly stepped up. I think that that's something we've seen in the past, and we're seeing now. So I don't think that's this is just an off game. It is an issue. Mark Williams is, I just want Mark Williams right now to play, be healthy, be consistent. We can worry about this next year. I know I say this a lot. I say it particularly with like LaMelo, because everybody's like, oh, LaMelo doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, he doesn't do this. We're 12-31. There's a lot of other things I would like to see done before we get to that point, and that's how I feel with this game right here. I mean, we still were in the game. You never want to see someone drop 42 on your team. However, I think that there's just a lot more we need to focus on, and then we could worry about stopping guys like Anthony Davis, because it's not like the Jonas Valanciunas of the world are having games like this. I will say Nikola Vucevic had a game like this, but Nikola Vucevic is more of a stretch. So we still have issues with that. I think having Grant Williams will fix that. We can't bank on that. I see a lot of people bank on, well, next year we're going to have Grant Williams. Grant Williams might not play till this time next year. So it's not as easy as saying next year we'll have Grant Williams, and we don't even know what he'll look like. He's not like the most athletic player in the world, so it's not as though his injury will, his play would rather rely on his athleticism. It's more so just getting back in the groove of things. I just wouldn't personally bank on that. But the way our team is built, to go against those stretch fives, that's where someone like Grant Williams can come in. And maybe after an off season of knowing like it's going to take a while for Grant to get where he needs to be, maybe we can get a little more adjusted from Miles if he's still on the team. We have a lot of trade rumors going around. We can talk about that. But maybe he can kind of do it. We've seen him do it in the past. It's not as effective as Grant Williams. That's like something I believe Grant Williams has over Miles, but still. Speaking of Miles, great game. I mean, 10 for 23, 2 for 11 from 3, so that's a problem. But he made, obviously, he has 26 points and 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. I think that's a pretty good game. I think that for the 3-point shots, I would like to see him take a little less, even though I know that's the system. What I do like about this particular game is that those shots weren't falling, but he still made a very big impact. It feels as though, and I think I want to do a video about it because I've been talking about it a lot. It feels as though with Miles Bridges specifically, if he's not able to hit the 3 when LaMelo, Brandon Miller, even in instances where Trey Mann was playing, he couldn't do anything else that's because everybody else was doing everything else. So he struggled to find a way to fit into the offense. As people have been missing, I think that we're seeing more of what he can do and more of what he's capable of, even in this system, because I personally was under the belief that this system is causing a lot of those issues for Miles, and if that's our system going forward, it makes it difficult for Miles. But in this situation, I think that it works out for him. The system, I believe, works for him. It's just we have other players to kind of combat what he does, and I think it just makes it difficult for him to fit in. As much as I think he can be an all-around player, he's offensively minded. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just Brandon, Melo, Trey Mann, Miles. There's only one ball to go around. You have those 4 guys. You can throw in Nick Smith Jr. as well. Not saying that he's of this echelon, but it's another offensive player, another guy that is at his best when he's trying to score. So I think that with this system, it can be done. It's just going to be difficult, and I really want to talk about that, but in another video. As far as this game, I think he did well. Just being able to, I liked his defense. While we still want him to be better, I think that we're getting some good solid defense. We held a team to 112 points, which our defense over the last few games have been really good, and it's not like we're letting people score on us like that. So I think that there's something there. We just have to really just bring it every game, and I think this is one of the few games this season where it wasn't embarrassing. I know the 21, and it was embarrassing then, but the entirety of the game wasn't embarrassing. And it felt as though these are the type of losses I've kind of expected this season, where we just don't have that extra gear these seasoned teams have, which is expected. So I feel much better about this loss than a lot of the other 30 losses that we had, because it didn't just feel like we were outclassed. Outplayed maybe, but not outclassed. To me, outclassed is just more, you don't even look like you belong in the same league. And a lot of times we look like that because we're just not bringing it. This game, it just felt like we're not the Lakers. We don't have a LeBron. We don't have an AD. We don't have these guys who are perfectly placed on this team to fit our 2 stars. And it showed. I'm okay with that. I'd rather lose like that than just look like we don't even belong in the league. And that's where a lot of our losses come from. But yeah, Miles Bridges, I think he had a good game. Josh Green, Josh Okogie, we could talk about both of those. Those guys, I think they have a spot on this team. I think that we need to look into more so what fits them best as far as their exact role, because right now they're just more of a 3-and-D wing and kind of push the pace a little bit. But I think that once we lose Cody Martin, whether that'll be now, off season, whatever, I really believe that those 2 guys will flourish and we'll have a kind of better idea of what they're going to do. Just being these complementary players, I think that having Cody Martin in that mix and then having these other 2 guys, it makes it a little convoluted. I think Cody is more of the all-around kind of guy. He just does a little bit of everything, he doesn't do anything extremely well, but he's just a very solid player. I think that's why he benefits from, I've always said this about Cody Martin, whoever's around him, he's going to play like them, because he just can do a little bit of everything. So being on a better team, he's going to be a guy that I guarantee you, we trade him, he's going to look a lot better. That's just because he's as good as the talent around him. Nothing wrong with that. Guys have made careers off that, and he's going to be one of them. So once he's out the picture, and then we have these two guys who are more fit for what we're trying to do of running fast, kind of being connector pieces, being able to shoot. I know Josh Okogie is not the best career three-point shooter, but Josh Green is pretty good, and I think that there's room for him to still grow. Josh Okogie, same, and then he, still young, still has time to develop as far as maybe not all of a sudden change who he is as a player, but just get better at certain things that we know he can do, especially having a role like this where more so I felt like in Phoenix and even his time with the Timberwolves, it was just like you're a player. There's not really a role for you. We just like your energy you bring. You play defense. That's why you get minutes. I think now we have a better, we can have a better fit for those guys, and I think that will help elevate this team. Nick Smith Jr. didn't play that well in this game, but he just looked, his IQ looked a little better. He just looked like he belonged on the court, even though his play may not have represented that. It just looks as though he's getting more comfortable with these reps, which is a good thing. I mean, really, that's it. I mean, Vasa, he's been playing well, but he still takes he took this fade three with 18 seconds left in the shot clock late in the game. So there's things that need to be looked at there. I mean, that's really it. Daquan Jeffries, I like his minutes. I like this. He played 13 minutes last night, and that's perfect. That's. I'm not saying we should keep him. I really don't know what to do with him. I don't know what to make of it, but I really like his minutes. Every time he plays, I enjoy his minutes, and he's a +5. I think that shows that his minutes are usually productive. Musa doing Musa things. I know he only had 4 rebounds, but I will say it just seemed as though the physicality changed a little bit when Musa came. He doesn't have the talent of a Mark Williams. He doesn't have the skill of a Mark Williams, but I do feel like he has that edge of what we look for with Nick as well. He has that. It's just that he doesn't have the body they have. They're 7 feet, stocky. He's a little, smaller. I think he's 6'10", but he's strong. It's just he's not as stocky as those guys, but he has the mindset that we want him to have. So there was times offensively and defensively, you could see him kind of bring that physicality. So, I mean, with us probably moving forward with him as our backup center and having the team really invest in him, I could see him stocking up and being a really, really good backup. I'm really excited for the future of Musa. I don't think that we're going to see any transformation of him from the rest of these games, the other half of the season basically. I think his transformations every year is going to come from off season, just learning to play within himself. I think that's really what's going to help him get to whatever that next level is, because he has the mentality. It's just the stuff I'm looking for him. I don't think, every player can get smarter. Every player can understand the game a little better. That's definitely going to grow every game. But what I'm really looking forward for him is just getting used to his body, playing within that body, and just bringing that physicality, bringing that toughness. That's stuff that's going to take in the off season, because it's going to take a workout plan and things like that. But overall, I think our team, like I said, all things considered, I think we did pretty well. Anthony Davis with 42, LeBron with 22. LeBron looked 40 in this game. He still looked great. LeBron's great. But I'm just glad that as a Hornets fan that it usually just feels like LeBron just dominates, and this time it felt like, which is what they've been trying to do for years, is just have him kind of be that facilitator and I can step up when I need to type player. It really looked like in this game, so that's good for him. Max Christie killed us on a couple of threes, and he only took 8 shots, but 6 of those were threes, and he killed us on those. He was 50% from the field with those. Austin Reeves, I think we did a good job. Looking at it, we did a pretty good job. I know Austin Reeves has the points to look like he did something, but that's Austin Reeves. That's what he brings. At this point in his career, 17 points is not unheard of. It's not like Max Christie went off. This is kind of what he does. Normally in these kind of games, we let random people go off, and that's how we lose. Ultimately, we just lost to Anthony Davis. I'm taking that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really wouldn't say announcements, but I have some ideas for this channel. And I want to talk about it in another video. I really don't want to upload a video to just do it, to talk about it, because I feel as though I could waste people's time. I might just do a poll, but we'll just talk about it later. I don't want to waste time in this video, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.